Welcome in, race fans, to another edition of In the Dirt. This is your host, Webb Dillard, fresh off vacation. Vacation is supposed to rest you, but no, not me. I come back and, boy, it was just a whirlwind trying to get caught up. You take vacation. But we have a pretty good show ahead, tentatively scheduled. Everything's going to be tentative from here on out. Spoke with Randy Weaver last week. Agreed to come on the show this week. He's yet to answer my phone calls today, but we've left messages. Hope he'll surprise us. And Randy Weaver will be on with us this evening. We got Jim Moon. My promise to Jim Moon stands as long as he's the current point leader of the UMP late models. He will be a guest, so Jim Moon's on once again. We got a hot shoe out of Paducah, Kentucky, Tate Davenport. He'll be joining us. We got a taped interview of a late model driver out of Perth, Australia. His name is Peter Seaton. He's big buddies with Oldfield, some of those guys over there running the R2C series. We taped this conversation a couple weeks ago. And then also on the show, Roby Helm, the PR, the voice of the Neesmith Dirt Late Model Series, is going to give us kind of a mid-season report. So without further ado,
Webb, heck of a weekend.
Yeah. Now, Brian Gray. Well, before we do this, real quick, let's just.
We were making waves at the Big E. I'm telling you.
Let's just bring on
Kyle May.
I'm finally back.
All right.
Finally.
Before we get to the Eldora stuff with Brian Gray, we must touch on the fact that the third cohort, the third musketeer, if you will, is finally legal. He's grown up right before our eyes, and he's able to purchase cold beer. Mr. Kyle May, how's it feel to be 21, friend?
Well, I'm kind of upset because I have not been carded yet. Nobody's checked my ID, and it's kind of upsetting because you wait till you get 21 so everybody will check you, and nobody does when you buy it now. So I don't really understand.
I do. Here's why. Me and the 2,500 other friends you have on Facebook have seen you with your grandfather beard. What the hell? When you look like Grizzly...
I would never card him, ever.
When you look like Grizzly Adams, the only thing they're wondering is where the hell is your bear at, not where your ID.
So, Kyle, did you have the big 21st birthday blowout party?
No, we just kind of hung out. We had a party the Friday night before. Not really a party, just like a get together, and then. Was
it the America party?
No, that happened this past Friday night because we left Saturday to come to Panama City, and that was Friday night. That was another girl's 23rd birthday party, but that was a real party there. I mean, like we had a slip and slide, and people were getting injured, and I'm sore all over. It was a good one.
Injured, so that's a party. I'm 38 years old. Getting injured is not something I want to do.
Well, you're talking about Panama City slip and slide and other chemicals.
This was still in my little hometown of Pisgah where the slip and slide happened.
Oh.
We haven't met enough people down here in Panama City to make a slip and slide yet. But I'm hoping when the day comes.
You're there now?
Yeah, I'm in Panama City right now.
Oh, wow. Do you got an ice-cold beverage in your hand?
Not at the moment because I just wanted to make sure you could still understand what I was saying while I was talking on the radio.
You are doing it wrong.
So Kyle's on vacation this week.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's how we roll in the South, baby.
That's a heck of a town down there.
Yeah.
Club Avila.
Pretty good. We may go there. One of my co-partners down here is not 21, so it's kind of hard to do as much stuff.
Is it the other Grizzly Adams or is it Robert?
No, this is Brady Burns.
He's got a cool porn stash, porn's mustache. Yeah. Has he got that still?
Yeah, he shaved it off, and it took it a while to come back. So he's just waiting on it to come back in, I think.
You look at him right now and tell him I'm mad at him. He needs to grow that back.
I'll tell him. I'm in a room by myself because I'm sure they're doing something annoying. So,
yeah. Okay, well, moving on. Oh, also too, I don't know if anybody noticed, but our friend Derek Walden, a listener, Him and I speak a lot on Facebook, and he recently got married, so congratulations to that. But he also...
And he sent a cool picture, too.
Yeah, cool-ass picture. He went to Vegas on his honeymoon. I'm sure he always bet on black, because that's what you're told to do. But he took a picture of the Vegas sign and had "In the Dirt," and it said "In the Dirt" with Webb, Kyle, and Brian. So that was pretty cool. Thank you, Mr. Walden, for that.
Something to put another object to put on the wall.
That's right. That's right. Courtesy of Mr. Derek Walden. Now, moving on, another cool thing.
Speaking of things to put on the wall.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. What are you bringing back?
Kyle May. Me?
Yeah.
No thoughts. I mean, you got. I'm not saying. I'm not asking. Yeah, I'm not asking you to go and steal anything, but when in Rome,
I've still got a whole week ahead of me.
All right.
So anything can happen.
Just so you know, the In the Dirt bail fund is low right now.
Well, I'll just tell you that whatever I do bring back, I'm going to make sure to wash off. So.
That don't count diseases. Well, all right. So another interesting thing happened last week to Brian Gray. Brian Gray was issued the very first In the Dirt media pass to the Prelude and the Dream.
Oh yeah, dude, that was sweet. So that right there means that's cred, dude.
I mean, you were on official business,
right? And I had
Eldora.
Tickets.
Yeah, you had tickets. You didn't even need them.
I had tickets. I didn't even need it. But when I walk over to the window, I say, "Hey, yeah, blah blah blah. I'm Brian Gray with In the Dirt. Oh yeah, here you go, sir. This right here. You're not filming anything, correct?" I said, "Nope." Here you go. Enjoy the rest of the week.
And so you just got to just kind of rub elbows with, I don't know, everybody.
Well, I just went down, and talked. We went up there the last couple of years, and then a good friend of mine, John Weber, had a car in the race. And check this, John had a car that Donnie Schatz was driving in the Prelude, and he couldn't get passes to the pits.
Son of a.
He had to kind of go through his chain of connections to get down there. So I made sure to walk up and rub that in on him.
So we were taken seriously as a media outlet, is what you're telling me.
Yes, we were taken seriously, and I did serious interviews. I didn't act like an idiot. I talked to people with respect, and I was courteous, and I asked everybody beforehand about the interviews, and we had a really good time. That
being said, now explain the look that you got from Kyle Busch when you were trying to approach him.
Well, see, here's the thing. It's one of those. It's kind of like it's kind of like when people use phrases out of the Bible. You can interpret it in many different ways, but so let's just say that there were people there that necessarily maybe the people from Bloomquist Chassis didn't want it there, and they were standing next to me, and I was maybe sticking my nose in where I shouldn't have been and taking pictures of stuff.
So you lied to the lady about you could be filming anything.
I didn't film anything.
Oh, okay.
I didn't have all right. Technically, I had a camera, but it was my phone. But here's the messed up part about the whole thing, Webb, is I had these great interviews. And I'm telling you, they were great, not just because I took them, because they were my first interviews that I had gotten. I recorded them on my Motorola Razr with my app, that was supposed to be really great for recording stuff. And I don't know what happened to my phone, but I've got a feeling I lost half my pictures, and every daggone one of those interviews are corrupted.
Now, one of them, or who were the interviews?
I had interviews with John Henry, with Danica Patrick. I had some audio of Kyle Busch.
What, it got him suspended?
No, he wouldn't have got suspended.
Damn it.
I don't think. That's open to interpretation, though. And just, and a number, Don O'Neill, obviously, who's a veteran of the show.
Yeah, he's alumni. What did he remember being on the show?
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, but that's every time I see Don, which is actually quite often, believe it or not. I always make a point to say hi, make it short and
That's
sweet
right.
and move on, and that way the next time I come around when I want to ask him some real dirt.
That's right.
But we talked a little bit about what their plans were for the Dream, and I will tell you, he said, well, we haven't really been trying anything. We're kind of sticking with what we got, and it sounds like they probably should have been trying some stuff.
Well, so I called. We made predictions last week, and I predicted Rowdy Bush for the Prelude, and
which you got.
Which you got. You said Clint Boyer.
Did I say Clint Boyer?
I'm pretty sure
that I did.
Yes, and had he not been just raw dogged into the wall by Casey Kane, he would have won because
I think he kind of just tucked his tail between his legs and pulled off.
Yeah.
Plus, I think weren't they going to run that? That was Jared Lander's car.
No.
No.
Boyer was in Davenport's car. 15.
Oh, he was in Davenport's car.
He said it was a brand new car too, so I'm sure he didn't want to just tear it all to pieces.
Yep. But I called Donnie O as my. I thought he would be the one to win, and Owen second, which I don't even believe Owens was in the race.
I didn't hear his name.
I didn't see him in anything in post race. But could anybody have guessed that Shane Clanton? I mean, not that Shane Clanton's not a good driver. It's just he ain't the hot name right now. He's not that top five that the guys at Dirt on Dirt talk about. We don't really talk about a top five or anything, but there's the Donnie O's, the Bloomquist, the Jimmy Owens, Lanigan, and that was you might have said Lanigan or Moyer, yeah.
Yeah, and Moyer.
And Clint Smith finished sixth. Am I the one shocked by this?
No,
I don't think so.
Kyle, are you shocked the fact that Clanton wins and Clint Smith even in the top 10?
Yeah, I was surprised either one of them was in the top 10. I mean, I was surprised either one of them was not having to win a consolation race or something like that to even make it.
Yeah.
Now there is one really good point that needs to be made about the racetrack.
Okay, that's what I was wanting to hear.
I don't know how many people were there, even if you watched it on Dirt. Typically, Eldora ends up with this nice thick tack at the very top of the track, right? And they didn't have that. And a lot of guys were saying there was grip at the bottom and there was some grip at the top. But me just looking there, I seen maybe a little bit coming off the corners on the bottom if guys could catch it. But that thing was totally black from bottom to the top, but I didn't see a bunch of dust, and I think that's what made the difference.
So it was just basically right place, right time for Clanton.
I'm not saying that Clanton is really good on the slick. I'm just saying I think it kind of leveled the field out that much.
Yeah. But it just amazes me to see Lanigan be dominant in his series. It amazes me to see Bloomquist and O'Neill be as dominant as they are in their respective series, and then show up to the Dream. And I know Bloomer was up there. I know he had something to do with the top five for a while. And then just when I got up that morning, I got up Sunday morning to see who won. And literally, my jaw hit the island in the kitchen when it was Clanton. Just not even close to even thinking that's who it would have been. And Derek Walden just informed me that the O show was a no show at the Dream, so he wasn't even there. I don't know, pretty wild.
Jimmy Mars was there. He was almost in the stands.
I heard that about him and McDowell.
Oh man! Now, I thought watching that for a second, I was like, I seen replays of super speedway NASCAR races. You know, where the car gets up in the front and takes off into the air?
Yeah.
Oh, freaked me out a little bit.
It was bad, and I like what he said after he got out. He said, that he had one racing line, and evidently Dale McDowell had like 5, and he was using all of them. So.
Well, see, and that's another thing. You know, Dale did come up and get into him a little bit, but you know, had he not ramped, you know, McDowell's wheel, which is really just what happened. He got into McDowell's wheel and it threw the front of his car up in the air, and he had liftoff. If that had never happened, they would have bumped, maybe tagged the wall a little bit, and went on.
Well, all right. Well, let's switch gears.
That car jumped right up in the air.
It did. It was nasty. It could have been a lot worse. It looked like. Well, let's switch gears. Let's switch gears real quick. And I'm a man of my word, and my promise has been that if Jim Moon is leading the UMP late model points, that he will be on the program until he's not. He comes off a big win this past weekend. Jim, tell us about your win.
Well, it doesn't compare to Eldora, but it was close. I had a dream, and I rolled a new car out this week, and we won. I had a dream. I feel like Martin Luther King.
You rolled a new car out?
Yeah, we pulled a new wrap out. You know, I always do like some kind of Moon Man crap or something on the race car, and the guy that does the stickers, he goes, let me design one. So we let him design one, and lo and behold, we go win. So,
well,
sounds like you might ought to let him design them every week.
Well, I don't know, but you know, you guys were talking about Eldora, and I was listening to you guys there. You know, what's so interesting about our sport? You guys talking about surprise people in positions they were this week with Clint winning and Clint Smith inside top 5. Isn't it incredible that our sport is so competitive that you never know who is really going to win?
Oh, well, see, the thing is that a lot of people have expected to see Bloomer or Owens or, you know, somebody, or Don O'Neill. After last year, Don O'Neill, you know, pretty much dominated most of the Crown Jewel races. And I think, you know, it was a good injection of spirit into the sport, seeing, you know, somebody different on the top there.
But doesn't that happen every week? I mean, where I'm from, when I go to the races, there's 10 or 12 guys that can win every night wherever I go.
Oh yeah, and there's 10 or 12 guys that can win at a Lucas race or a World of Outlaws race, if you ask me.
But it's not.
Yeah. Well, I can't speak for that. I mean, I don't know about the Lucas Oil stuff, and you know, because they got other stuff going on there. It's not everybody's not on the up and up. So, but on the weekly program, I mean, I like to think everybody's on the up and up.
Wait a second, are you? Whoa.
Everybody on the up and up on the weekly shows at your local track?
Now, Neesmith, the Neesmith series is. The Neesmith series is.
They tech them, right?
Like, we tech them like hell. So.
Yeah.
But what are you suggesting? Do I need to look out my window for black helicopters, Moon, if you start talking stuff?
No, I'm just saying some of us just ain't on dope. There's some shit in the tires, too.
Oh.
Yeah.
Here, the tires just don't seem to go away. I don't understand why the tires are always the subject.
No, the thing that Jim is talking about is that same thing that I've been telling everybody. Those guys got special stuff.
I'm not saying they got different tires. I'm saying the stuff that goes on between the time it leaves the facility and the time it hits the racetrack is a little different than what some of us get.
Ragu? It's in there, Ragu?
Yeah.
No, it's not Ragu.
It's something different. Webb, I think we blew that thing open back months ago.
Yeah, it's toluene and some carbon monoxide stuff. I mean, it's all available. If you just got to be dumb enough to play with it. So.
I cannot believe my virgin ears. I just have a lot more faith in the sanctioned body.
You know what? Well, how I'm looking at it is, I want to go have me a little kid because in 10 years, all these people will be dead, and I'll have me a 10-year-old superstar because all these people will be dead, dying of cancer from dealing with all that crap.
My. So anyway,
I got a buddy that can shed some light on that too, Webb. Works in the cancer center at UC Hospital. He can tell you about some famous sprint car guys that came through there.
Maybe we need to get him on the program. Well,
we can do that.
We are basically on the eve, if you'll let me say that, of the Hell Tour. You're sitting on top of the points, Jim.
Yep.
You know, have you got enough distance between you and the rest of the guys to maybe hold on to the lead, or if not top 5, or what do you see the next few weeks happening for you and your points lead?
Well, I see every week when I wake up, I see another day that goes by than the points leader. What I see, well, to be honest with you, is I'm going to I'm going to be at some summer national races this week, and I'll be at races next week. I'm going to do all the weekday stuff. I'm going to go back home to race on the weekend, and just grind it out as long as I can.
That's right.
Right. I know everybody's on there wanting to got more races and whatever. Hey, but look, it ain't just races that put me up there, because
it's that turbocharger.
It's the turbocharger, which there's pictures available of, I guess. If you go run last place, even if you run 35 races, you're still not going to lead the points. So I mean, I got to be doing something, right?
That's right.
But I think people need to give a little credit where credit's due. The 525 is allowing me to race and make a living and go forward and do what I love to do and lead the points at the same time.
And lead the points.
I mean, look. Somebody asked me the other day, well, what the difference was between this year and years past. Well, the difference is people are broke. Why is Jim Moon leading the points? Well, because I have money left over at the end of every week from what I won. Most of these guys are out here racing, and they're going broke, and they can't figure out why they can't keep racing. Do you have to be a genius to figure it out? I mean, I just barely graduated high school, and I can figure it out. I mean, if I only bring in $300 this week and I spend $9, I went in the hole $6.
Can't keep throwing money at something and expect to continue, right?
That's right. At some point, you got to park it. Mommy and Daddy's pockets just aren't that deep.
Now,
some of them are.
I do have a question, Jim, about UMP. About the UMP.
Yeah.
What is their tech situation like?
On what item?
On any, I mean, from top to bottom. I mean, on a regular show, sanctioned show. What do you find to be their routine?
Let's go back to talking about tires. We have more to talk about.
Yeah.
No, I mean, really, the deal is,
I'm just
never
curious.
You never know when they're going to show.
I can answer that for you real easy.
I'm curious. The only reason I'm curious because it's so many races and in such little time. I just wonder who's in charge of it.
On the summer,
take the time.
Wait a minute. On the summer nationals, we get tagged nightly. Okay, you're going to get your sail panels, your spoiler sides, your width, your nose, your quarter panel length. They tag that stuff nightly on the summer nationals. For a weekly show, it just, I'm not going to say it never happens, okay? But it does happen. A couple times a year I'll get tagged. We had to lower the roof the other day because we were at 11 3/4 inches. I guess we're supposed to have 12 inches or something, But that's it on a weekly deal. And then, on the summer national deal, I mean, they seem to like to take a sample out of the tire, and then they like to measure some stuff up, check some deck height and stuff. So
obviously you're going to leave the turbocharger off. That's why I was asking. I was wondering about the turbocharger.
No, I will have the turbocharger on at Brownstown. And for those that are confused, I'm running it off the crank. So it doesn't.
It's inside the belt housing.
No. It sits on top of the motor. The carburetor's fake. Everything's below the hood. Okay, and the drive's running off the back.
And you're running fuel injection?
I don't know how you'd run that thing. No, it's a turbo. I don't know how do you get fuel in a turbo? I don't know. I just drive the thing.
I'm just the wheel man.
Yeah, you're asking me too many technical questions, Brian.
I'm just asking what the people want to know. How in the world are you keeping up with those guys with a stock 525?
Jim Moon, the people's champion.
Well, I mean, I'm running some nitro in the fuel. Well,
that's not illegal, is it?
Oh, well, look, I was once told by a many-time champion, it's not cheating until you get caught, and only then did you not understand the rule correctly. But you'll fix it next week.
That's the rule we live by.
Yeah, that will be my stance.
Well, how would they test for nitro?
I don't know.
Speed gun.
A what?
One of those radar guns the cops use. Get you on the straightaways. If you go from 80 on exit to 175 before you hit turn 1, it's probably nitrous.
Yeah, there's probably something on there. What do you mean? How do I keep up with them? These people that think that I'm cheating, they need to come watch me qualify. And then when they're laughing because I'm not even in the same ballpark as everybody qualifying, and like Saturday night, that's a great example. I literally, on the last lap, I was running third, and I told them boys before the race ever started that them boys were all going to go out and try to run their 40s. I told them they could run them, and with 5 to go, I'd chase them down and I'd pass them on my 20. Them boys just didn't believe me. I motored by them. And last night at Quincy, told the boys the same thing again. With 5 to go, I'll come get you. Well, I only got the second. Called tire conservation.
Well, it looks like you've made a return trip to 4M here. I'm looking at some of the...
what I do this week?
Well, I was going to see if there was a turbocharger. I was going to go look under the tech section and see where you find one.
Well, what's funny is somebody was actually going to bring me one over at Quincy, and we was going to set it on the car and take a picture of it. But he said it had sat on his shelf for 3.5 years at his speed shop, and somebody walked in and bought it this week. So we didn't get no pictures of it. I just thought it would be funny to let pictures surface of the turbocharger.
And I want to read this post, Jim, while I got you here. It's by Jet Jockey,
okay.
Which if you put jockey on the end of any nickname, it just sounds it's not ha-ha, it's the other one. But it says just out of curiosity, is Jim still running the illegal motor? Or is he last time I checked, he says, coil packs or something, which is standard.
Yeah.
So do you got the coil packs, or are you running the distributor from Wegner?
I've got the straight up GT or the CT 525 with the coil packs on it.
So it's illegal.
It's not illegal.
Jet Jockey is obvious.
Jet Jockey, he needs to call Sam up and ask Sam about that program. Sam's got community. If you run the CT 525, you can use the coil packs.
That's all they're arguing about.
So another guy says that 15 cars evidently wasn't enough for it to count.
But that's funny, because if you look at Weaver, the guy that, here comes God's creation again. Yeah, Weaver, he's out of his 7 wins or something. I think there was one night there was only 11 cars. So if we're going to cry cherry picking. Then I did hear somebody said I couldn't win at Fairbury. Well, Weaver didn't win it at Fairbury either.
Well, well, Jim, as always,
are you getting ready to let me go?
Well, yeah, we got some other guests. I got.
Well, we got one more thing we got to talk about.
All right, make it happen.
Ernie Morrison getting bitch slapped at Eldora.
I don't know. I am not party to this conversation. I know nothing about it.
It's just too bad somebody else got to me before I did.
I don't want to end this conversation. I have no clue Of course, I did read it.
Brian, do you want to talk about it with me?
Go ahead.
Could it not happen to a nicer guy? Could it not happen to a nicer guy?
To Ernie?
I met Ernie.
You and Jody give him so much shit, but I guess I'm out there somewhere. I'm missing some of it.
Okay, look, this is not. I
heard some stories. A lot of people are talking. Ernie Morrison was in the news this week.
I met the dude. I have no gripe or qualms with the guy. I read it. I hope that if something bad happen, I hope that he's okay. Or whatever.
I don't want him to get no harm. I just think it's funny that somebody got him. It's one of them deals. You run your mouth enough, lightning gets you.
He's never done so. And since Ernie's not here, I'll defend it. Since he's never run his mouth to me. Me and him spoke. We're trying to get Reddick on here at some time, even Ernie on. So all I gotta say is,
no, you ain't gonna get Ernie and Reddick on.
It's not
together.
Well, I'm just saying.
That deal's not kosher anymore.
Well, wait a minute. According to multiple sources, he's the crew chief.
Who?
For Tyler Reddick. Yeah. I know the truth. But according to the stories he tries to tell these chicks at clubs, he's the crew chief.
He's putting his game on. It sounds like.
Hell.
He needs to go participate in the game and lose some weight.
Oh goodness.
What's wrong, Webb?
That's the sound of a control being lost.
The funny thing is that it seems like everybody knows Ernie.
I bet dude, and I thought he was.
My beef with. Go ahead.
I was trying to see if I check if I still hosted this show.
What's your beef with Ernie?
My
beef with Ernie. No, I do, because he runs his mouth. He's one of the people. Moon's always cheating. There's no way he can run with. No way you can do this. No way you can do that. And then what was funny when I confronted him on it on the Ask the Moon Man, then he called like a little crybaby to my car owner. Oh, if you don't get him to stop talking about this, I'm just gonna do all kinds of big things. Dude, grow some things to hang between your legs.
Well, the one cool thing is we're talking about him, so I mean, Ernie must do something right.
Well, after you got knocked out like Holyfield or who knocked out Mike Tyson? Buster Douglas?
Yeah.
That's about what it was like. Buster Douglas knocked out Mike Tyson. Whoever
Did you see it?
Ernie? No, I haven't seen it. Is it on video?
No. Who knocked him out? Who punched him?
I really don't know. I've just heard the story. And I know Ernie is on there. Ernie's crying about, oh, don't talk about it. It's not fair. It wasn't right. Dude, you run your mouth, you better watch your back.
Things were getting out of control up there. I will tell you that much, Webb.
Well, in the sport of I'm trying to get my.
You trying to get Ernie on right now? We need to.
Well, First of all,
I'm gonna message him right now. See if he can call in.
Yeah, please do.
Let's get back to the.
Dude, Webb, this is good.
But I got some other guests I got to get to.
We may have to do a third show.
We might have to make this the 7 o'clock hour.
Yeah, I might have to make it 7 o'clock hour.
Or the 8 o'clock hour. I got to get to the. Let's do this. Let's go ahead and go to the.
Look, I'll be UMP points leader next week again. You guys, let's set it up. Let's have this conference. Let's have the throwdown with Ernie.
Only I agree.
It'll be good for ratings.
The only way I agree to it is if Jody Shannon comes on too.
Okay.
Jody and Ernie.
Yeah, completely funny show.
Jody, Ernie, and Moon Man.
Yep. It will be completely righteous.
That would be like the three most infamous dudes on 4M altogether. We would just need like Dirk 007 guy to come on.
Yeah, who is that dude?
I don't know.
But if you're going to get back...
A jacktard from lots of things I've read of him. And if you don't know what a jacktard is, just Dirt Man 007. Let me give you a Stapleton's phone number, and he'll tell you what it is.
Dude, I got touchdown You gotta go to a break and let me get Ernie on.
Let's go to a pre-recorded interview with Peter Seaton. He is a late model driver out of Perth, Australia. Moon
Man go nowhere.
Yeah, so everybody hold tight, and we're going to sit the 10-minute interview, so everybody just listen to it. And this is Peter Seaton and myself, pre-recorded a couple weeks back. All right, race fans, it's an In the Dirt exclusive. I have Mr. Peter Seaton from Perth, Australia. He's from the western side of Australia. He's a late model pilot. Mr. Seaton, thank you for agreeing to an interview.
My pleasure.
So you guys run over there down in Australia. Late models are relatively new to you guys down there in the racing community.
That's correct. Yeah. I've only been racing late models for 2 years now, but really enjoy it. And the series is really going really well. We travel most around WA to race to a lot of tracks around here, and it's been good fun.
Now, did the sport of auto racing start with sprint cars, or where did it start in Australia? How has it evolved to what it is now? What started it all down there?
Late models were brought in. Well, Speedway started here many years ago. A track called Claremont Speedway and a lot of other Forestfield Speedway were a lot of really early stuff back in the 60s. The tracks have got better and better. Sprint cars are involved. Late models come on scene. I'm not really 100% sure. It may be about 8-10 years ago now, apparently. A few guys brought them over. I think they evolved from the, what they call them, there's like a big wedge-looking car. They come over here. They were sort of a bit out of control, and then late models sort of evolved around, and things have just got bigger and bigger because you guys over in the US, of course, are that full on with cars, and for sale, it's cheaper for us guys over in Australia to bring them in over here as they are, like off the track from there. So it's just a way of a sport becoming bigger and better in Australia, of course, from where we can access relatively cheap vehicles.
Now, like you said, do the teams buy primarily used vehicles from the States, or is there a chassis company over there? I mean, give us an idea of what the process is of putting together a car from start to finish.
Well, most of the guys over here, we've got probably 3 or 4 guys over here that actually race in the US. They go over there basically each year and have a crack at a few series. Jason Oldfield went over last year and had a go at one of the series over there. Did really well. Basically, he was pretty successful in what he did. He's affiliated with Jeep Van Wormer. There's a couple other guys. Brad Blake, he races over in the US as well. Jay Carty. All these guys go over there. They basically buy a car, run the series over there or whatever they do, 6 weeks or whatever they can do over there. When they finish, they bring them back to Australia. Other guys bring them back just basically to resell back in WA here or Australia-wide, whatever they want. It's just a way we're bringing, they're not actually probably brand new cars, but they've been used over there for maybe one season. They come over here, they run them here for a couple of seasons, sell them to other guys, and it just snowballs down the track. So a lot of the newer guys are coming out that can't afford to buy a brand new car each year. They buy these second-hand cars from other guys, freshen up the motors and that, and they're still competitive. I know Jeep Van Wormer, he sold a couple of cars over here. Steve Francis talking about bringing a car back here next year. He had a go over here in the USA tour we had back in January. Craig Vosbergen, he brings a few cars in, like Steve Shaver cars, those sort of things. And it's, as I say, it's just a way of getting cars back into Australia, and they run them for a few seasons, sell them on, and the new guys coming on all the time are getting better and better gear, and it's just like a big snowball effect, basically. I
had the extreme pleasure to meet Mr. Vosenberg up at Portsmouth Raceway, and also Jay Cardy and his father. I met them down at a racetrack in Mississippi. Great people. So interesting to see those fellas come over here and race in some of our events over here. And not meaning that I don't mean to sound arrogant or anything, but I'm just saying it's neat for them to guys come over and race against the guys that have been doing it for a little bit longer. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's a way of gaining experience for sure. I mean, we race with these guys all the time, and them going over to your side of the world, race with the best of the best. As you know, late models developed in the US. They get gaining experience all the time. They're gaining chassis techniques and all that sort of thing. They come back to Australia. They put in the work down here. Other guys catch on a bit, and it's just, we're just getting better and better because those guys are getting better and better to compete with you guys. And it's good for the sport for sure.
Well, I want to see you guys come over. Sometimes our guys might get lazy. I want to see an Australia come over and wax the field one time. wake our guys up on some racetrack.
Yeah, it'll be good. I know Brad Blake's been trying for a few years now. And I know Craig Vosberg, and he's had a couple of cracks at it. But, it's a tough gig, that's for sure. So
give me a kind of an idea. Are the American companies warming up to the fact that you guys are down there, and are the American companies assisting in any way? What is your experience with the American companies, or what is your perception of the American companies when it comes to late model racing in Australia?
Well, I know personally there's a couple of guys over here, Warren and Jamie and Jason Oldfield. They work with Jeep Van Wormer a fair bit, and Jeep runs master-built chassis. I know Jamie, he's pretty knows master-built himself fairly well, and he's sort of getting a bit of technology out of them. Basically running their cars all the time. They're trying to get feedback from him, and he's getting feedback from them. The other guys, I don't really know what they get up to. It's basically Speedway in general everywhere. No one talks to anyone. But Warren and Jamie, they're pretty good mates. So I know for a fact they actually do deal with masters built there.
Now, I got some connections over on the east side of Australia. Paul Geary, he's I don't know if you're familiar with him. He's a saloon driver, super sedan. He's always asking about setup information, because they run a birdcage on one side and whatnot. Now, do you guys get a lot of feedback from crew chiefs over here, or if you lean on a lot of the guys from America to get baseline setups and whatnot for your cars?
Personally, I haven't really been in the sport long enough to sort of get contacts like that. I figured a few of the other guys that do run in America and that run into crew chiefs over there, and they probably sort of talk a bit and they learn a bit. Whether it's the same sort of setups they use over there as they do over here, I'm not 100% sure, As I say, I'm only fairly new to the sport, so I'm trying to learn as much as I can off anyone I can, and any information I can get, it's really valuable, and it's I'm like a big sponge at the moment. So if someone tells me something, I'll take it on board and I'll give it a crack, and if it works, it works. If it doesn't, well, we'll go back to the drawing board. But it'd be good to get a crew chiefs from over your neck of the woods to help us some of the lower guys over here out for sure.
Well, Mr. Seaton, I really appreciate taking time out of your evening. It's 8:26 a.m. my time, so that means it's at least 12 to 13 hours ahead. You're in the future, aren't you? I really appreciate you taking your time out of your evening and away from your family and whatnot to speak with us here on In the Dirt. And I tell you what, once the season kicks back off, y'all, when it turns wintertime for us, I'll have you on the show a bit more, and you can be kind of my Australian correspondent for the radio show if you don't mind, and maybe we'll build your name along with building our name.
No worries, that sounds great.
Well, folks, you can keep up with Mr. Seaton through Facebook. He's on Facebook. That's how him and I hooked up. And plus, I'll try to update everybody on what Mr. Seaton's doing once this season kicks back off, which they just wrapped their season up. Peter, I appreciate it, and we'll be in touch, man.
No worries, Webb. Thank you very much.
Hey everybody, this is Webb Diller with In the Dirt. Are you looking for an affordable way to advertise your event, your organization, or your product? If so, contact me at inthedirtradio@gmail.com. That's inthedirtradio@gmail.com.
XD4, the extreme downforce nose and fender kit designed for dirt late model racing. Nose, fenders, and balance is all included. Contact RacingJunk.com or call direct LSG Race Cars at area code 513-519-7745. Extreme downforce from LSG. Go fast, be fast, or get fast.
TheDRC.net, your grassroots home for dirt racing action. Always free content, always in HD. TheDRC.net. Get there, join the revolution. The Dirt Racing Connection, the #1 online source for late models, street stocks, modifieds, everything in between. All of the excitement is found on the Dirt Racing Connection at TheDRC.net.
Welcome back in, race fans. Hope you enjoyed that pre-recorded interview with Peter Seaton, the driver out of Perth, Australia. Real neat to try to get to know those guys. And like I said in the interview, I got to talk with a few of the top guys over there. The Valsenberg, I got to talk to him at Portsmouth Raceway last year. And then the Cardys, Jay Cardy is a competitor over there in the R2C series, and he also is they have a big parts business over there, so they're also providing parts to the drivers over there. All right, well, let me bring back my co-hosts, Mr. Gray and Mr. Kyle May, on the telephone, guys. Right now, we're gonna go right to Mr. Roby Helm with the NeSmith series. He is the PR and also the voice of the. Is it the Stars and Cars or the Cars and Stars?
Whichever one you want to put first.
So, Mr. Helm, obviously we're co-workers with the NeSmith series. What if you had to put a grade on the touring series to this point, halfway through the season? What would your grade be as far as the events and the shows that we put on?
Well, I'm probably a little prejudiced, but I'd have to give it an A.
Just from an observational standpoint, I think you're correct because the crowds and the quality of racing deserves an A.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the car counts have been up there, and it's been good quality cars. And I think a lot of that's due to the NeSmith Chevrolet Weekly Racing Series. The tracks we go to and their weekly shows, they run the NeSmith Weekly Racing Series as their main divisions in their late model class. And that's really given those guys a lot of experience at working with these cars and getting their chassis dialed in because, of course, they don't have to do anything to the engine except do the maintenance on it. So it gives them a lot more time to get their cars dialed in. And they've really stepped up to the plate, and the fans have responded to that because they know they can come out and see their local favorites take on the traveling, as you say, Cars and Stars of the NeSmith Chevrolet Dirt Late Model Series. And they've had some successful results this year. So it's been a good mix of local talent, a good mix of traveling talent. The crowds have come out to see it. And I've had notes from people that, have come out and seen our races for the first time this year and have been pleasantly surprised on what they've seen. They've been hardcore super late model fans for years. And they said they really never had an interest in the Chevrolet Performance spec engines that we run, and that are built and sealed at the factory. They're a little down on horsepower. They're 400 horsepower compared to 700 horsepower all aluminum $40,000 engine. The engines we run cost $5,000. But once they come out and they see the races, we've had people say they've been pleasantly surprised just on how competitive they are. I mean, we have 2-3 wide racing from front to back, top to bottom at every race we've had this year.
And of the 12 events, only one repeat winner in Dennis Franklin. The rest of them, and you said you touched on something that.
Well, we don't want to leave out David Earl Gentry. He also has 2 wins.
That he did. That's right. I just see that Hattiesburg, Mississippi, and then the second night at Albany.
Right.
Before we get to, now the crown, to my opinion, the crown jewel of the season so far was the 2 Albany races. But when it comes to racing and crowd, now, and you touched two points I want to make here. When you get these other series that comes to town, it's almost like the local guys have zero chance. And I speak of the full-blown late model organizations. When they come to town, it's almost like, forget about seeing your hometown hero guy. But
yeah, it all comes down to cubic dollars then.
Shouldn't you put cubic dollars on the hood like they used to do in the old school NASCAR, but the cubic inch on the hood?
Yeah, put cubic and then dollar signs and then at least a 4 with a whole bunch of zeros.
Goodness gracious.
Ridiculous.
It is. But so we had 2 events, one at the Ringgold, Georgia Boyd Speedway, then at Seymour, Tennessee at 411 as thunder has struck over the mountain here in Rainbow City. But local guys took our guys to the woodshed, didn't they?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's what I was talking about. 411 is a Neesmith Chevrolet Weekly Racing Series track. You had Chris Wilson up there running in the front, Mac McCarter, you had Greg Martin, John Cobb ran all up at the front, and you go to Albany. We talked about Albany. Kit Seeley, he starts 24th and last on the field and comes home, I believe it was like a 7th place finish. So, it's kind of a combination. The traveling guys got a lot of experience. They know how to adjust to different racetracks, but those local guys, they race that track week in and week out. They know it like the back of their hand. They know how it's going to change. And 411 was a good example of that because we qualified early in the evening. The sun was still up, and the track started drying out, and it was getting black around the center. But right at intermission time, you look out on that racetrack, and you were looking at a completely different racetrack because the moisture came back in it. And the traveling guys are back there in the pit area. They're scratching their head. They don't know whether to put on a 55, a 21, or where to put them. And local guys know exactly what to do because they've been there, done that, and won.
And it's a feather in their cap, too, because if you were down there in Victory Lane for the Boyd's race when it was Jeff Smith and the second-place driver. They were hometown guys, and they got out of the car saying that the homeboys want it. The homeboys want it. So that's a neat deal that those guys can come in at their place and not be intimidated. And I talk to people every day through the weekly series hotline that we do with the series, and talked to a gentleman today, and he was like, "Man, them guys ain't no joke." And I was like, "No," I said, "There's drivers that come into the series who I think they're going to come in and just and walk away with $2,000 or $3,000 and not so much." So it's probably one of the most competitive leagues I've been associated with or been around or have the ability to film and help promote. So switching gears a little bit, next year, a bunch has been said about the 525 series. We've had Moon on. Jim Moon is leading the UMP points with what he calls a straight up 525 out of the crate. Just right out of the box, GM motor. What is your anticipation? I mean, how much more competitive can we make racing in the Neesmith Series and the 525?
It's going to be a lot more competitive. Again, you've got a situation where everybody's going to have the same engine. It's an engine that is even less maintenance than the 604 or the 602 crate engine. Ronnie Johnson's had one going on its 4th season, and, he says, "What do you mean adjust the valves? I don't even know what they look like. I've never had the engine apart. All he does is change the oil." And that's a very durable, very high horsepower engine, and I think Jim Moon would tell you the same thing, that all he has to do on it is change the oil. So everybody's going to be on level playing field with the engine. Plus, we're going to institute the Bilstein $135 spec shocks. I mean, we've talked about the engines being $40,000 and up in super late model racing, and in any form of late model racing, whether it be with the NeSmith Series or up in the National Touring divisions for super late models, they are spending a tremendous amount of money on shock absorbers. They've got the canister shocks that they can get in and build and rebuild and adjust and do all that. And you can go out there and have, $8,000, $9,000 worth of shocks on your car. So, we're trying to look at the cost of that. That seems to be the next most expensive thing on the race car. And we can control that and help out the local racers even more by putting them on a $135 shock absorber. And it takes 5 of them, one on each corner, one on the 5th coil. You got $675 worth of shocks on your car. For, that's less than most guys are running with just one shock on one corner. So we're going to institute that, and I really feel in my gut, having been around all forms of late model racing for over 20 years, that this is going to be a big deal because we have had so much interest in this division. The engines are very accessible. You can get them at NeSmith Chevrolet in Claxton, Georgia for $69.95. And they've got free delivery anywhere in the southeast, next day delivery. You order it today, you give them your credit card number, pay for it, they put it on a truck that night, and by the time you get up the next morning, they're sitting there at your door waiting to deliver your engine. And the engine is very easy to put into a late model car. You don't have to do a lot of replumbing. You don't have to do a lot of reconfiguring. You drop it in there. You do have to buy the electronics, the pumps, the pulleys, and all that. And they have a kit for that's right around $3,000, but you only have to buy that one time. So if you do replace the engine, you just have to replace the $69.95 long block assembly, and you take all your pumps, pulleys, ignition, everything, and put it on the engine that you get. And it's very simple to do. It's not hard at all. A lot of people say, oh, well, that engine's got coil packs and it's all, complicated and everything. It's not complicated at all. It's very simple to do. Doesn't take a lot of time to do. And once you get it together, get it in your race car, put the hood down. The only time you got to lift the hood is change the oil.
I mean, and I think since I've been a part of the organization this year and got to really get to know Mike Vaughn, and he really is his main goal is to help bring these astronomical prices back down to earth to keep racing alive because it's going to disappear for a lot of people.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you look at the cost of super late model racing nowadays. You've got your current stars that are up there running week in and week out, and they're the same guys that have been there for the last 15, 20 years. And you've got to have a feeding ground of some sort to bring new talent into dirt late model racing. And the crate engine has done that, and this is going to be the next step. This is going to be the step that's in between super late models and the crate late models, because we're talking about having a series that's going to have a $60,000 point fund that's going to pay $30,000 to win over a course of about 16 races that are going to pay anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000 to win. So the money's right for what you're spending, because you don't have the high shock cost, you don't have the high engine cost. Those $40,000 engines, you run them 30 nights and you got to send them out and get them rebuilt, and the cost to rebuild one of those things is about the same cost as it is to buy a brand new CT525. So, everything's going to be right. It's going to be economical. Guys might stand a chance to make a buck or two.
I hear you. Now, coming up, the next big event for the NeSmith Touring Series, of course, there's the weekly tracks are running from here until the end of the season, but the next big event, we got 4 big days, starting at East Alabama, 2 nights at Penton, and then at Albany Motor Speedway, 4th of July. Talk talk about that real quick before we let you get out of here.
Well, we're going to call that the Salute to America Nationals, and it's going to start July 4th on Wednesday night at East Alabama Motor Speedway. It's going to be 50 laps, $2,500 to win. Then 2 straight nights at Penton Raceway in Penton, Alabama. Those 2 races are going to be on July the 5th and July the 6th. Each one's going to be 40 laps, $2,000 to win. Then on Saturday night, July 7th, we go to Albany Motor Speedway, and that's going to be 50 laps, $2,500 to win. And if a driver can win all 4 races, we'll pay a $1,000 bonus, and that'll make a 4-night payday of $10,000.
I mean, a weekend's worth of racing, a good racing. I mean, you can't beat that with a stick, I don't believe.
Oh, there's 3 excellent racetracks, very racy joints. Some of the best races we've had have been at East Alabama, and you touched on at Albany Motor Speedway. The race we had there, I mean, it was 2 and 3 wide all night long on that Saturday night race, and Penton Raceway is just as racy as well. The Edges do a great job getting that track ready. It stays moist and tacky all night long. And you got that tricky Calamity Corner, which I call it, turn 2 at Penton. That's always a challenge. So there's going to be plenty of excitement, plenty of competition, plenty of great cars and stars that are going to be on hand with the Neesmith Chevrolet Dirt Late Model Series.
Well, just let all the fans know, you can go to NeesmithRacing.com, click on the media page. You can hear Mr. Helm call the races. You'll see some of our video highlights that yours truly shot. Has all the events on there. Plus, you'll be able to click on the weekly series side of the website, go and listen to some of the hotlines, get to know some of the weekly series drivers from Missouri all the way over to South Georgia, trying to really keep everybody part of the Neesmith family as possible.
You talking about the Mickey Trosclair show?
Listen, hey, Mickey keeps winning. You got to keep talking to him now.
He took over the point lead in the Weekly Racing Series championship battle for that $10,000 at the end of the year. Cat's got 12 wins in the first 11 weeks of the season.
That's right. I talked to him this morning actually about we cleared the air of what took place at Hattiesburg, and he was. It seemed like his Louisiana accent was thicker. He was more proud that he got to take home some protest money. So
well, I was reading on Facebook, and he's telling all those cats that they're looking at the wrong end of the race car, because he's won those races with an out of the crate Chevrolet 604 engine. Cost $5,000. It's just, I think they bought it new at the beginning of the year, and I mean it's got the original factory bolts in it. It hasn't been touched. And it was protested, it was tore down, and it was like brand new, 100% legal.
Well, Mickey Trosclair is as important to the series as any other driver that's out there.
He's not just doing it at one track. I mean, he's gone to, he's won the majority of his races, of course, at Pike County, his home track on Saturday night. But he's won at Hattiesburg, and he's been good up at Jackson Motor Speedway. So I mean, he's spreading it out a little bit out there. And I tell you, there's some guys to watch that are coming up. It's going to get real fun, Webb. We're in week 11. When we get to week 14, you'll have guys that'll come from out of nowhere as they work up to that 14-week mark. The points list is going to be going up and down, sideways, inside out, and it's really going to get exciting here in about 3 more weeks.
It can't get any more exciting. I mean, I'm tickled to death to be associated with you and with Tim Sims and with Mike Vaughn and Miss Heather and all the speedways and all these drivers. I mean, it's a pleasure to talk to these guys every week. And Roby, I thank you for coming on. You and I will see each other tomorrow as we have Neesmith business to attend to. And for more information, like I said, everybody go to NeesmithRacing.com. Roby, any predictions for the points race?
Oh, it's too early to tell. I mean, you got Gentry and Turner up there. You got Johnny Stokes. You never can count him out. Chris Cantrell is fast rookie this year. Chase Edge. I mean, anybody in that top 10, you can't count out Anthony White with his experience. It's going to be exciting right down to the end of the season. Come see it.
Yeah, come out and see all the stars and cars. I'd like to thank you, Roby, for joining us this evening.
Thanks, Webb.
All right. When we come back from a break here, we're going to have Tate Davenport on the telephone out of Paducah, Kentucky. Mr. Davenport. What's going on here?
Well,
hello.
What's not working, Webb?
I don't know. Mr. Tate Davenport.
He's on now.
Okay. All right. I don't know what the heck happened. Blog Talk will throw you curveballs and you don't know what's going on. Tate, you guys have been competing in several of the Neesmith events this year. You guys are also late model driver. But tell us a little bit about the crate racing you've been doing.
I've been running the crate series for probably 5 or 6 years. It's just a lot more economical, more affordable than the super late model stuff.
Tell us about the groupies, Tate.
About what now?
Like what kind of girls are in the pits at the Neesmith shows?
I'm not sure about that.
Hey, Tate, I apologize. That's Brian Gray. He's my co-host.
He apologizes for me. Webb, dude. We always talk about the cars and the shocks and the motors. What about the ladies? There was all kinds of them up there at Eldora this weekend.
Well, there's girls at all the tracks, I'm sure, but we're going to talk to Mr. Davenport. Now, Tate, you guys run the Longhorn chassis, which is widely known. That it's a Labonte-owned chassis. Earl Pearson's the flagship driver. The Neats drive them. You drive them. Now, weren't you one of the guys that got one of the first wins for the Longhorn?
Yeah. There's not a whole lot of people that run them. Run the crate series with them. We got the first one we got. It was the 7th car that they'd ever built, and I really like it. We get a lot of support from them guys up there, and I have no complaints at all with it.
I've actually got a chance to walk through the building up there back when I worked with the Old Man's Garage OMG guys, and they got a pretty smooth operation. You got some of the stuff. It's all Labonte, the Dodges. Are you running the Dodge, or what kind of course not in the crate? You're not. You're running the 602 or 604. But do you get any of that Dodge stuff they're running for the late model stuff?
No. We've always been GM stuff. Haven't messed with the Dodge stuff at all.
Now what kind of do you talk to Earl a lot? Does he call you? How does that work when there's only so many chassis out there? I'm sure you guys share as much information as possible when you find something.
Yeah, I talk to Earl some. I also talk to Matt Langston, which is his crew chief right now, and actually Justin Labonte, which is actually the one that kind of runs all the Longhorn stuff, which is Terry's son, Terry Labonte's son.
Now, like the old man Bob, the father of Terry and Bobby, he's pretty cool. Did you ever get a chance to speak with him?
Yeah, actually I have. I talked to him a couple of weeks ago.
That dude's right there's a hoot.
Boy, he is. He knows his stuff. He's really intelligent when it comes to front end stuff, setup and stuff on the front end.
Now you guys are more more known for your northern stuff. I've heard of you guys through my dealings with Dirt on Dirt, and that's where I first heard of Tate Davenport. You come down here like to Clay Hill, and you were at the Mississippi shows. What's the difference that you find between the north and the south as far as tracks, and is there a learning curve?
Yeah, somewhat. Like Magnolia, there I've never been to that place or Wynot, and their slick down there is a lot different than our slick. Their slick tracks are nowhere near as slick as the tracks get where we usually race at, which was definitely a curveball for us because I was going, and tightening the car and stuff up like that, and you just got to have your stuff really free to even race at them tracks down there.
So now do you guys? I've seen you guys had run some late model stuff this year. I mean, what is the absolute plan? Do you just kind of pick and choose, or are you enjoying the Neesmith experience compared to any crate that you run up there?
Yeah. I like racing with the Neesmith stuff really well. I like because they do a lot of tech. A lot of the places that we race at, they don't do any tech at all, and it's really aggravating. You know, when you try and do everything right, and you get some. You know, there's a lot of different series they don't check anything, and there's a lot of people that aren't really doing things the right way as far as engines and stuff like that. That's why we kind of went more towards running the Neesmith stuff.
I mean, and let's just touch on that a little, just a hair under the surface there of what you said. What's the deal? Why is it so hard for sanctioning bodies? I mean, of course, I work for Neesmith, and like Roby said a minute ago, we're a little bit prejudiced, and we think the Neesmith is great and wonderful. But why don't other organizations want to do the right thing? I mean, I don't understand. I guess I'm having a hard time understanding on the outside looking in.
That I really couldn't answer. I mean, like the stuff that we race, which I guess would be considered our home tracks and stuff like that, they do no tech whatsoever, none. And like I say, it's just really, really aggravating when you go out there and you have guys that are 5th and 6th place cars, and just all of a sudden in one weekend they go out there and they can start winning and just running away with it. Well, I mean, that's pretty obvious they haven't just stumbled onto something there. You know, their engine, there's no way that it can be right.
Well, it seems been the conversation of the day between this program and then also the Weekly Series Hotline. You know, Tim Sims and works very hard to make sure that he gets around these racetracks, does surprise visits on the Weekly Series, and then of course we do our. You've attended national shows. You see what we do with those shows as far as tech goes. I don't know, man. I just to me it just seems like it's our responsibility as series to do that, and that apparently all series aren't created equally, from what I hear from people.
By far.
Now you guys come, like we talked to. You guys were at Clay Hill, and you know, and this RC Whitwell cat. Have you seen a lot of him prior to him coming to race some of the Neesmith shows?
Some. He races over in Missouri quite a bit. He's pretty tough over there. I mean, when the track slicks up, he's fast.
Yeah, he made the comment that it was tougher than he thought it was going to be. And then I talked to Ricky Wagoneer today for the Neesmith Weekly Series Hotline, and he gave a glowing report on you. Actually, he was the one that talked to me, told me to call you and get you on the show tonight. But do you feel when you load up to go to a show? I mean, and I know the slick tracks are a different story, but I mean, you guys have just as much chance to win our touring shows as anybody else. Do you feel that when you come to our show, as far as you have to just race the cars and the setup and not have to worry about racing the lack of tech?
Oh, yeah, I feel that's one of the reasons, like I said, I come to you guys' stuff. I mean, it's just, you don't have to worry about going and getting outmotored or anything like that.
Well, all right. Well, I appreciate you joining us here late in the evening, taking time. I'm sure you're in the shop working. Before I let you get out of here, tell us where you're gonna be at racing, where people can find you, and also thank your sponsors and mention your crew members for me.
We'll be running at Clay Hill this Friday night. We're going to be racing at Malden, Missouri. Saturday night we'll be at Clay Hill. As far as the sponsors, I'd like to thank Bobby Labonte Enterprise, Integra Shocks, Merco Incorporated, Murphy Motorsports, and as far as the crew members, Mike Lowry, which is my partner on the car, my little brother Tyler Davenport, and just all the help I get from all my friends and fans.
That's Tate Davenport. He's the pilot of the 44 Longhorn chassis. Tate, looking forward to seeing you guys at some more of our events, and we wish you continued success over the course of the season. And we'll check in with you, have you back on, or maybe we'll get you on the weekly series hotline after a big victory.
Okay, well, I appreciate it.
All right, Tate, thank you. Tate Davenport.
Thank you.
Well, Brian Gray, what happened to our Moon Man?
Well, let's see. Moon Man hung up. But my buddy Rodney showed up.
Oh, Rodney's there live in person?
Yeah, he's here live in person in the studio. Rodney Hibbert, he's a street stock driver over at Lawrenceburg Speedway.
I think we're friends on Facebook. What's up, Rodney?
Oh,
how's it going, Webb?
Kyle May, you still with us?
Yeah, I'm here.
Are we breaking into your adult beverage time on your first?
Well, I mean, terribly. We're going to get some crab legs, I think. So that's going to be good.
Well, I'm going to do you a solid. If I can quote Seinfeld. I'm going to let you go ahead and go hit Joe's Crab Shack. So you're dismissed, and me and Brian will close the show.
I appreciate that. Appreciate that, guys. Y'all.
Peace out, Kyle May.
All right, man.
We're going to close the show.
Kyle May.
Cut him off.
Huh?
He's going to go get hammered drunk.
Well, he probably has a note from his mama. So what happened to Moon? Why do you hang up? I mean, I had to go into my next guest.
I don't know why he hung up, but Ernie declined comment. He says that the punch in the face is all just nothing, and that it was a drunken disagreement that he'll work out. So, but he says he hasn't talked nothing about Jim in like 3 years.
Well, there's probably a statute of limitations. Yeah, so he's probably right there.
The statute of limitations says that talking crap about somebody must not exist after a 2.5 year period.
Yeah, and then you're fine.
Yeah, then you're good to go.
Now, the one thing that I'll say before we end the show, we only got 8 minutes left because I didn't get the full 2 hours. I only went 90 minutes. But I will say this: that I don't condone us talking about somebody who's not here. But then again, on the other hand, I'm not going to censor too much unless he just gets too out of control crazy.
I did message Ernie and gave him a chance to defend himself. So.
Well, like I said, I just don't want this show to be something that's going to be censored or collared. I don't want to collar nobody. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a couple compound words that start with a C word and end with holster that we don't want said no more.
No more of that?
No more of that.
That's a Hamilton staple, dude.
That's a Hamilton staple? Welcome to Hamilton, home of the holster?
Yeah.
Well. All right. Well, I'd like to thank my guests that come on this evening. I'd like to thank Jim Moon, who's the current UMP points leader with a legal, what was the device again? Turbocharger.
Non-turbocharged.
A non-turbocharged 525.
5, yeah.
Like to thank Roby Helm. And I'll send him a link, and he'll hear me say thank you. But Peter Seaton from Perth, Australia. Tate Davenport. We got to him a little bit later than I told him. I apologize. And then, listen, dude, I don't know what happened to Blog Talk Radio, but we were on the air, and I've been assured that I didn't, but I about gave his phone number out. I didn't know we were on the air, but I was assured by a listener we did not do that. But that was a scary moment. So, Brian, any closing thoughts? Put this dream weekend to bed?
Dream weekend was tiring. Jimmy Mars should not cry so much. And
why didn't you go talk to Ron White?
Dude, I did talk to Ron White. We did speak, and as a matter of fact, I got pictures of Ron White sitting on top of Don O'Neill's trailer.
I did see that. Now, Please tell me
why Ron White was there, and I told him, I said, this is your crowd. He says, I know every one of them.
And then he probably said, so's my dog, Tater.
Well, he was sitting on Tater's trailer.
That's funny. I didn't even think of that. I just said Tater.
Yes, sir.
I bet he didn't look at Tater and say, it's going to be a good day, Tater. Because, you know, Kyle wrecked or Kurt, whichever.
Kurt knocked the downforce off the rear end.
Yeah.
It had an arrow push.
Somebody on Facebook today was asking what car that was, and I'm like, you really can't see MagnaFlow on the front of that car? It just...
So MagnaFlow's not a sponsor anymore, is it?
Anyway, it was something on the front of the car that I'd have to look at the picture.
I don't know anybody else has a big, bright yellow race car like that.
Well, they had the Rowdy Bush 51 on the side of it, remember, with black. So it was
red. Rowdy Bush was the black.
Yeah.
That's when he drove that car I had.
So it was a pretty interesting dream, I guess, when you got Clanton coming out of absolutely nowhere to win it, and then
third in the top 5. I think everybody are saying he's the big new Summer National superstar because he finished 5th in the Dream.
I was shocked. I'm not gonna lie, I'm still shocked, and I'm glad for Clanton because him and Marshall Green have really put a lot into that race car, the Capital race car. Not very many people got them, and they've got a few wins under their belts.
Don't forget Darrell Lanigan coming from the back of the pack.
Yeah, that's not even the story. It's Clanton and Marshall Green pick up 100G with that, and the new race team out of wherever that Clanton is driving for. But I'm proud for Marshall Green and Clanton to get that kind of a win. There
wasn't a master-built Rocket or a Bloomquist car that won. It was a home-built Capital
race car, baby, built right over here near Woodstock, Georgia. Marshall Green, he's won the Dirt Track World Championship. I believe is his big claims. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's right. But they've had a lot of hard work put into that race car, and they deserve a little success. And you win a crown jewel like the Dream, your phone should be ringing on Monday morning. So the Capital race car looks like it's going to be something to deal with, and congratulations to them guys. Doesn't mean it ain't a shock. I'm not trying to down them. I'm just saying it doesn't mean it ain't a shock, but congratulations for sure.
Well, it looked like out of the box at the Wild West Shootout he was going to be really good this year, and then had that mishap. About probably put him out of contingency for the season, if you ask me. I thought he was hurt.
Me, the Flagman, and Clanton are the only 3 that really knows. Well, he knows, but we're the only other 2. The Flagman and myself are the only other 2 know that what it kind of felt like. Because I felt that hit. I was in the flag stand with the camera, and got that shot, and I couldn't imagine what it felt like in the cockpit because it shook the flag stand a little bit.
So that's a race car that will crash and win.
That's right. Well, I mean, it protected him. That's what the race car's job is once it's not turning laps. Once it's going toward the walls.
I've heard people up here say that you either build them to race or you build them to wreck.
Well,
so
we got about
what is it, Rodney?
Build them to win or you build them to wreck.
Right. That's what they say. You got one or the other. But Shane Clanton proved that you can win a crown jewel in a car that you can run head on into the wall too.
That's right. And he would have probably won the race he was in that night. So good luck to him. Well, we're going to get off here. We thanked everybody, and I appreciate you, Brian, for going to the Dream and being our correspondent. Next year, we'll just have to have you come back with interviews.
Right. We're going to do it a little different next year. I'm going to take somebody with a real recorder.
All right. Well, all right. On behalf of Hollywood Brian Gray, and on behalf of Kyle May, who's now legal and on the loose. Kyle May is now legal and on the loose in Panama City. If you see him, he's the one with the Grizzly Adams beard, and if his shirt's off, it looks like he's got a big brown sweater on.